Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Adam Steele from Hot Pole Studios here, and welcome back to my home studio, Studio B, where I have the lovely amps behind me, and where we are going to continue our rocking journey into mixing the SkyeAsylum album. Now, let's get straight on with it, because I think we've got two more songs to finish and one to check at the very least. And so there's things to do. So let's not hang about. Where's the button? That's the button I'm looking for. There we go. So first thing to look at is the song we worked at last time, the Underdog. Sounds good. But the snare cuts out at some point, and it turns out it was a technical issue, and I have been sent... Oh dear, that's an upset child in the background. I've been sent some replacement files. Oh boy, they loud. Let's just turn them down so that they look like the right kind of level. Make sure they start at bar 25 there. Let's see if these are the right volume level, because they may need adjusting. Let's just see. Yeah, I do prefer it without that second snare mic. Okay, so that song is now ready for review. Let's just make sure this is properly trimmed so that it doesn't overlap. Okay, so that song, let's get the Underdog rendered out. Helps when you spell it right. Mix one, and that should be going into browse that folder. Yeah, we're almost at 48,000 subs, 48k for the win. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's get the time selection rendered out, and I'm going to open, while this renders, a lovely can of Meantime Brewery's Anytime IPA, and it is, of course, anytime. So Mike's asking in chat, did I reamp the guitars on this album? And yes, I did. And while that's rendering, I will show you. I used the Rev Generator 120 Mark III. Perfect sound for this album. Used the red channel. We found a sound that works perfectly for this album. It's kind of like the Mesa, but a bit more clean on the bottom end, a bit more solid and a bit more angry on the top rather than squishy, which is, you know, when we're talking about those kind of fine points, it is a very much a luxury that I get the choice between them. But yeah, when we were doing some of the earlier reamping on the album, we found that the Mesa was a little too harsh, and the Marshall was a bit too aggressive in the upper mids for this particular setup. Ah, sounds like we've got an upset child in the background. Yeah, she does not want to go to bed. Yeah. Yes, getting to watch a mixing session for the low, low price of 1 like. Let's just see what's going on, shall we? Somebody's tired and doesn't want to go to bed. Ivy, say hello. Ivy, say hello. Hello. There you go. That changed your mind fairly quickly, didn't it? Yeah, look. Say hello to everybody. Hello. Big smiles. It's time for you to get everything changed and go to bed. Say hello. No. Ah. All right, come on, you. Go on, baby. There we go. Okay, and the file is rendered. Snot. Lovely. There we go. So, now we move on to the track Mother, which is the one that we got a certain way through in the previous video. So, as you can't see on the other screen, the Reaper splash screen is on screen number 1 and it's flicking up with all these different loading wave file plugin, blah, blah, blah. There we go. So, I'm going to put both headphones on and have a listen through this song, see how it sounds, see if anything. I think we got everything in by the end of the last session. But my brain had turned to mush by the end of that session. So let's just have a check of all the files. Looks like everything is in. So let's just listen through now, see where we got to.
September sees dreams off the page, beauty and divine, locked in this cage, withholding fire, power too strong. Blue light ignite,
The only things I really changed there. Stop, thank you. The only things I really changed were you could see me cutting some of the breaths out, which, especially with the small amount of compression that I'm using, really stood out there sometimes. Let's see. I don't mind little breaths, but the ones that were going, you could really hear and didn't stand out in a pleasant way. So they are now gone, which means that's another song that is ready. Let's make that mix 2 to send to our artist. And now we move on to some more serious mixing this evening. We've got Reverie, which is the opening track, and I think that's probably the one I want to look at next. And then we've got Oracle Falls Part 2, which is kind of the slow middle track of the album. And that is all of it. So we might get through to the end of the first mix of everything by the end of today. If not, then hopefully tomorrow night, after I've finished barbecuing, because I'm going to spend all day barbecuing tomorrow, because I just bought a barbecue and I know a butcher's where I can get an insane amount of meat. So you bet I'm going to barbecue all of it and then fridge and freezer the whole thing, because why would I not? In amongst all the other things I have to do tomorrow, I have a big list. So I've just given Scott from Chernobyl a bit of advice. He was saying he wants the Echo Boy, but when it gets on sale. If you're interested in the Sound Toys plugins, see what you can get from them for free or for very cheap. Because the more plugins you have of theirs, the better discount you get on other products they make. So yeah, if you find something like Echo Boy is $150, which is a bit much, then if you get like their little Alter Boy and little plugins that are cheap, then you might be able to get something like Echo Boy for $70 or $60. Ah, such an itchy nose. Sorry. Yeah, it's funny getting a barbecue. I went and got a proper charcoal barbecue. I'm not some Midwestern American going propane accessories. So let's save this project as Reverie, because this is untick that. There we go. Sorry, my nose is so itchy all of a sudden. This is probably the closest I'll need to what I need for Reverie. So yeah, it's written to be like the opening credits to a movie. Yes, indeed. So let's see what we get here. The drums for this are on a single channel. So this is the reason I did it this way around. Let's just check that Oracle Falls. Oh, Oracle Falls also has drums. So, so I'll use probably Mother again for this. But for this track, what I'm going to do is grab all of these and just delete. Da da da. And this song is supposed to be at 110 BPM. So I'm going to get rid of this. And the first thing I'm going to add in is the drums, which I'm going to drop in at bar 33. Let's hear it. Whoa. There we go. So I'm hitting that pretty hard with all my usual drum processing. A tape machine, transformers, fresh air for brightness, and decapitator for some parallel distortion. And that sounds huge. Now let's get this sub drop in on its own channel. Ah, Itchy knows, Itchy knows. In fact, I'm going to make this Shift and R the region so I know exactly where the song starts and ends. That should make it a little easier dropping files in. Haha. A sub drop cavalcade. And that just stops, so that's got to fade out. Okay. I've got guitars. Ooh. So I don't need a lead guitar group here by the look of it. So that can go. Bass drop can go. There are some vocals in here. That's cool. Let's get the guitars into their respective places and just listen to what they sound like. They sound good, but this is where I'm going to fire up the rev. Just get that warming up. Come back to that in a minute. Ah. That's not turning on because I've not turned it on at the plug socket. Oh yes, there we go. Typical English plugs all switched for safety. Channel 4, blue, fat, gate. I think that's right. Might have just been cut. Soon find out. I'll let those valves warm up for a minute while we start pulling some other stuff in. Because there's different vocals here. So let's pull main vocals onto the chorus channel. That makes logical sense. Double can be on verse vocal, and then I've got harmonies which can go on woses. So that separate tracks, please. That can go. That can go. Right, cool. They're going to need to be sat back and have some good delay on them, I think. Right. These definitely need micro shifting. Well, this one does anyway. Micro shift. Right, let's turn on the rev, which I think is plugged in analog 1 now. No, analog. About to find out. I switched them around and I can't remember which way I switched them around because I needed the DI. Let's just unmute that. And it must be the other one. It must have been analog 2 after all. Hello? Oh, that's right. I unplugged that from the rev to plug in. There we go. It was never coming out of the rev at all. It was plugged into the Mesa. Oh, that's hilariously out of time. Awesome. So let's do that again. Was it analog? It was analog one. I did switch them round. And using that DI. Big sound coming. Okay. Mute. And that's it for the guitar amp for now. Thank you, Mr. Rev. Goodbye. Hilarious. Reamping can be so efficient these days. The valves barely have time to get hot. Thoughts on 2 amp tones? Made a helix patch today using a 23 modern PV. Cool sound, but paints the dial in nicely. It depends. Depends. What do you need? What do you need out of your tone? What is one side of the tone missing? That's the thing. If the tone's missing something, and you can find that extra something from a second amp source, do it. There we go. So the reason I like this better than the original tone we had is that the low end is much more in control. This is the old tone. And yeah, real amps don't tend to do that because we don't let them. If a real amp had that much low end, the speakers would be literally jumping in the cab, and we don't tend to let them do that. So you can hear there in the low end there that it's straining at the leash to go chum chum, and it feels big, but it doesn't just occupy the entire low end, which is great for mixing purposes. Sounding nice. So I'm going to make a whole new track for what I call the narrator, because I had to listen to this particular channel at some point. I don't remember why, but I did. So there's nothing under this yet.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men.
Yeah, that sounds okay. Now I'm going to turn that into a beast, but just not quite yet. Do I have brass, violin, synth, winds, riser? Okay, so I'm just going to delete out those tracks, make a load of new tracks, and drop in everything that I need to drop in so that I know I've got everything at this point. Separate tracks. Oh, that was one track short. Oh, just you. There we go. So this is going to be loud. Yeah, way too loud. And surprisingly muffled sounding. They're not, though. Let's hear that under the guitars. They need a lot more authority in the low end, which calls for bass mint. And some high mids there to give it some authority. That sounds really muffly for some reason, so that starts getting a 9000 series straight away. Let's cut the super lows out of this. And then... see how it's distorting just by me pushing it up a little bit? That tells me there's way too much in that range. I can hear that it's just stuffy. Just turn it down a bit. Right, let's turn that down a little so we've got a bit of headroom. Use another 9000 console and bring out some low mids on this. So that's brought it forward a bit. It's a little bit bass light, this, and I'm going to add bass mint to this to really let this smash us in the face. Let's try synthesizing the bass on this. Nope. That's sounding nice. Let's try resonate. Nope. That's the one. That sounds like Godzilla's coming through the wall. Right, now what's this one called? Right, so the brass has got no guts. Let's give it some guts. Bring these down a little more. They sound good together, but there's no space for it to get louder. Right, let's really spread these out, get these louder, 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 louder. Cool. Everything drops out here, so I want this bing to be super loud. So let's give it another 4 dB. That diva going up is just kind of my fault for letting it run, but that's fine. Just clear all these out. It's unnecessarily playing back a load of these channels, but right now that's not the primary focus. So that's a... Ooh. Hold on. Right, so that's not coming through very much. Okay, that's getting somewhere now. Oh, we've got one grumpy baby out there. So we're getting somewhere now. Let's just trim those up. What have we got left to add in? We've got a violin to add in. Let's listen to that. That violin firstly needs to go to the room reverb to sit it, needs plenty of plate reverb, and I'm just copying these settings across. It needs loads of delay. There we go. And it needs some band limiting because I can hear stuff going on that's outside of the violin's real kind of frequency range. And I'm probably going to add some 500 hertz here. Right, that needs some work. That needs a few things, including definitely taking out of the center image. I'm going to use Reaper's own EQ, REEQ here to just mold this around a little. So at the bottom here, I took a little out of the mids and added some to the sides to kind of make it more stereo-ish without really screwing with things. I've taken a bit out of the mids, a bit out of the lows. Oh, that's probably a bit too low looking at that scale. Let's add that into the room reverb. Let's see how that sounds in the mix. Right. That's where everything's supposed to hit. So at that point, I'm going to automate the delay off. That first one sounds like it needs more than the second one. And now to make that vocal sound like a monster.
The old gods scorched in blood.
Right, so first thing to do is let's get Virtual Mix Rack on the case and compress this to hell, bring it out.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story.
Right. I'm going to try just changing this down by 4 semitones using a specific mode speech.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises
Yeah.
from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story.
Yeah, suddenly it's being told by the orcs. And then micro shift, just a little bit of micro shift will just give this just a little flavor.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story. This is her story.
That needs more volume on the automation.
This is her story. The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises.
I've added too much low end to that, don't need it.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story.
Right, more high end and then a bit of soothe on the end of it will hopefully take the ta-ta-ta out of there. And that should, I'll make sure soothe goes before micro shift so we don't get any weirdness.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story.
Right, another thing I think I'll do is the brass feels quite kind of limp and weak at this point. So what I might do is automate on some low end boost up until everything else comes in and then take that down. Yeah, so let's just use good old Reaper EQ. And then use frequency band 2, gain band 2, and just automate that down at this point. because otherwise that's going to interfere with the rest of the mix. And the reason I'm automating the gain instead of just turning it off and bypassing it is I don't want a distinctive click where it goes. I just want it to be pulled down. Yes. That is sounding huge. All right. I think I'm done with this one. Unless there's anything that needs to be changed, let's just play it back one more time. It's not a long piece, so... It's really not a long piece.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story.
Yeah. All right. Happy with that one. So Reverie Mix 1. Right. I'm going to render that out. If you've been able to hear Ivy crying in the background, me too. I'm just going to make sure this, there we go, length matches and overwrite that. And I'll be back in 1 minute. And then we've got one more song, Oracle Falls, to do. Let's do it. See you in a minute. I am back. There we go. Looks like the poor girl wore herself out. So everything's fine. Close project tab. Yeah, close project. And now we've got Oracle Falls to do, which includes guitars and a full drum kit again. So I'm going to open the previous project, which was Mother, which had a full drum kit in there. And there we go. No, let's not do that. Let's save the project as first. Cool. Part 2, because there is going to be a part 1 at some point. Very kind of Dream Theater callback. Fun fact, when Dream Theater made Metropolis Part 1, which was one of their songs off Images and Words, they had absolutely no plans to make a part 2, and years later they ended up making a whole album out of it, so there you go. Not everything has to be part of the plan to end up as a happy accident. Bob Ross style. Right. Before I do anything, I'm actually just going to clear some of these automation envelopes off some of these, because these can be a real pain if you don't actually need them. So I'm just going to clear these out. Clear, and clear. There we go. Now, when I add in all these, make sure the tempo is 110 for the song. And let's just get all these in where they should be. Good evening, everybody. Let's get the snap in. These are nowhere near where they're supposed to be, but I'm sure that's fine. Get these in. There we go. And let's do the thing where I start everything at bar 33, because that's what I like to do. And it looks like there's only drums at the end of this one. Interlesting. Looks like the trigger was not particularly loud. Everything else needs to be less than it has been though. Are the toms... Oh, Christ. Right, sounds like the toms were not gated. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. That. Which one are you? Talk about bleed. Wow. What mics were they? Because that's a huge amount of bleed. These all sound like mics that were pointed at the ceiling. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to get me some serious gating going on these. Where's the slate gate? That would be under mix rack. Virtual mix rack. Go away, go away. Don't need any of you. I need gate drums, and I need it to be on Tom D Bleed tight. Wait, what? Oh, I'm being an idiot, that's why. I didn't actually put anything in the right place first. Okay, undo all of that. What an absolute idiot. Duh, there's my duh moment of the day. Let's get these all in the right place. Adam, put everything in the right place before you press play, you Wally. There we go. Let's, no wonder the hi-hats microphones were pointed at the hi-hats. Well done. There we go. Let's try that again. That was just me being dim. Let's let's try this again, shall we? Duh. Everybody disregard previous and take that as a lesson for yourselves. Always check what tracks you're actually working on before you dive in depth. Oh, God. That was silly. Is there a bass? There is a bass DI, so let's drop the bass DI in. That looks like it starts. There we go. Yes, what a complete idiot move that was. Hey, we've all done things like that at some point in time, I'm sure of it. Me and Brown have a running joke that he'll start tracking something and he's not actually changed the input on a track. Yep, it's time to turn on the rev. There we go. Dark Lords of the Night. I mean, I can't sing that at pitch while I've got a toddler trying to sleep 2 rooms down. But it's kind of, yeah. These songs are all sticking in my head, something fierce. Dark Lords of the Night. Right, let's hit the record on this. Make sure it's on analog 1. Ooh, there's the crackle crackle. This sounds like a Sisters of Mercy track or something like that. And keep going until the end. Yes. And that's what heavy amps sound like without a gate on them, because I had to turn the gate off to let that sustain. And now the other side. Cool. And that really is the end of the Rev, I think, because the guitar leads on this album have all been quite nice. And seem to have fit appropriately. So, on that note, time to pull those into somewhere that they fit. Last couple of nights I've listened to Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime a couple of times. It's very much a favourite album of mine, and there's a lot of what I hear in here from that. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that that needs some delay on there. Yeah, I saw Queensryche do the Operation Mindcrime 1 and 2 tour several years back. It was actually a little bit disappointing, but generally it was good fun. What am I doing there? That can be muted. I was trying to edit these down. Until I've had a long week. Was it live or was it even? Is it live or is it even tied? Yes. Right. So I've got verses, speaking, verse, vocals, harmonies. Right. Let's get these verse vocals in and see what they're all about, and then build out the instrumentation around it.
Drops of rain fell off my face. The silent sound of crashing waves aren't heard below. Aren't heard crashing waves heard below. Aren't heard below. A smile, a shame, our times, our days. A warrior once stood.
Lots of background noise, but we'll leave that as is for now. I'm going to reuse this outro Vox channel, and okay, so they cross over, so I can split them both and move that up there.
Think of me, I will think of you. Will you wait for me? I will wait for you. Will you follow me? I will follow you. Will you dream of me? I will dream of you. Will you watch over me? I will watch over you. Will you honor me? I will honor you.
There we go. Stop. You will have seen me quickly there. Right, so I've got 3 harmony channels. See me very quickly switching back to the midfields on the VSX headphone model. Because as nice as it is to listen to the far fields, they can be a little bit distracting for me in the way that they sound really, really nice when what I actually want from my monitoring is for it to be a bit more unforgiving and a bit more accurate. Unless I'm listening back, checking for like low-end artifacts or that kind of thing.
Smile the shame, our times, our days. A warrior once stood here just to shield my pain. To shield my pain. Our light left us way. Our light left us way too fast. But I want you to know this goodbye will not settle it.
Right, so I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 channels left to bring in. So I'm going to get rid of all these and bring in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure snap is on and bring these in and EQ and add these one by one as necessary. There we go. These pianos are loudy. So much noise on this piano track.
Ameilethal lasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan.
Right, that needs some treatment, and it looks like that's our kind of key for this. This needs a lot less low end. This needs clearing right up, and
Ameilethales are lasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdilan. Talgaras abalya. Ameilethales are lasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdilan. Talgaras abalya.
right, the piano sounds like it's probably going to be largely unchanged.
Unheard below.
Right, these 2 pianos can just go in a piano group and be treated together because they are one instrument the way that I'm hearing it. And they sound like a typical piano to me. Sound nice. They're stuffy in the low mids. One EQ move bit there. Suddenly cleared them right up.
Unheard below.
I'm gonna have to clean that up. I don't know what that effect was done with, but it sounds like it was run through a hairdryer. Whatever gets you there, I guess. Oh. So, the piano is our main instrument for the first section, and then
Ameilethales are lasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdilan.
That needs to be in the room.
Amealathalis alasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdalan. Talgaras abalia. I walk alone, but not for the first time. This feels foreign. Amealathalis alasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdalan. Talgaras abalia.
Right, that's interfering with the vocals, so that just needs a bit less super low mid. But it doesn't need to be completely devoid of low end, because the piano takes care of some of it, but the intro noise, that's supposed to be there for that long? I mean, there's nothing else on there? Okay. Ah, falls, Oracle falls, right. Let's fade it out slowly, right.
Amealathalis alas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdalan. Talgaras abalia. I walk alone, but not for the first time. This feels foreign.
That wind's nice, but that's got a bit of a in there. There. It seems counterintuitive to EQ it down at its peak there, but it means that all the other frequencies around it kind of balance out more, so we'll feel it more in the track.
Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdalan. Talgaras abalia. Amealathalis alasa malauravas. Giliam beneven.
That water sounds, again, too harsh, too present. So, how do we make effects sound further away? That's right, everybody. We high pass them, or high shelf them. Suddenly, that's way further away. Hello, everybody. I mean, that's right in your face. That's further away.
Amealathalis alasa malauravas. Giliam beneven lasa galan. Mamilva halani virdalan. Talgaras abalia. I walk alone, but not for the first time. This feels foreign. Disconnected, it feels wrong. But I think this is what I am. I really think this is who I am. Goodbye, my love. Drops of rain heard below. Smile, shame, our times, our days. A warrior once stood here just to shield my pain. To shield my pain. Our light left us way too fast, but I want you to know this goodbye will not settle in. Never settle in. How do I cope with the falling snow as the cuts run deep? This is all I know. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. Smoldering embers of how I was born. This is too much to bear, this is too much to hold. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. I'm sorry. Give in to me, give in to me. I'm So give in to me, give in to me. I'm Think of me, I will think of you. Will you wait for me? I will wait for you. Will you follow me? I will follow you. Dream of me, I will dream of you. Will you watch over me? I will watch over you. Will you honor me? I will honor you. This was to be forever. This was to be forever. Will you honor me? I will honor you. This was to be forever.
Cool. Is there a way to link the amount of EQ on the water to the intensity of the wind? Yes, there is actually. It's not something I would usually do, but if I really, really wanted to, I could look at, say, the EQ on here and go to parameter at the top of it and go parameter modulation / MIDI link. No, so I click on the parameter I want, then I go parameter modulation for filter one. Filter one, let's touch filter one gain. Yeah, filter one gain, parameter modulation. And it's there. Audio control from and then I could go to the wind and where is it? Wind, and then send that to the water on channels 3 and 4 as a side chain. So now channels 3 and 4. Now I need to have parameter modulation. So it starts originally where I had it, and now
This was to be forever.
there we go. Parameter modulation. As the wind goes up,
This was to
let's listen to that at the start of the track so we can actually hear what's going on. And now this should be so that when the wind goes up and down, the intensity of the water's top end changes. So yeah, you can do that.
Amealathalis alasa malauravas. Giliam benaven lasagalan.
I'm keeping that.
Virdalan Talgaras Abalia. I walk alone, but not for the first time. This feels foreign. Disconnected, it feels wrong. But I think this is what I am. I really think this is who I am. Goodbye, my love. Drops of rain fell off my face. The silent sound of crashing waves aren't heard below. Aren't heard below. A smile, a shade.
Cool. So I'm just going to cut a few more breaths out of this main vocal if I can.
Silent.
I'm not a big fan of the which is very mid-2000s in the way that that's what was done at the time, that everything would be really heavily compressed but not edited, and there were loads of breaths, and I'm not a big fan of that, although I like the heavy compression thing.
Drops of rain fell off my face. The silent sound of crashing waves aren't heard below. Aren't heard below. A smile, a shame, our times, our days. A warrior once stood here just to shield my pain. To shield my pain. Our light left us way too fast, but I want you to know this goodbye will not settle in. Never settle in. How do I cope with the falling snow as the cuts run deep? This is all I know. So falling snow as the cuts run deep. This is all I know. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. Smoldering embers of how I was born. This is too much to bear. This is too much to hold. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. this was to be forever.
Nice. All right. I think it's time. Now I'm going to export that. And so it goes in the Oracle files. Now we have a version at least of every song. So that needs to be, this is the time selection, which is much more reasonable. Where does the song start? It starts there. So, have I got all the tracks in? I think so. Let's hit apply and just... If you're asking me that question, that means that I might not do. Oh, strings 2's turned off. Oops. Good spot.
Snow as the cuts run deep. This is all I know. So give
Right, that's competing in the vocal range, so that needs a bit of a cut at 1K. And that slight compression there should bring the level of it back.
How do I cope with the falling snow as the cuts run deep? This is all I know. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. Smoldering embers of how I was born. This is too much to bear. This is too much to hold. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. I'm
There we go. But yeah, now I have all the tracks in. I'm just going through the folder, just making sure I haven't missed anything. And it looks like, yeah, everything's in there now. So there we go. Let's get that rendered. And I'm going to nip to ye oldie men's room at this point, because I'm now ye oldie men. And I will be back here in 2 minutes, and we'll start to arrange everything as a project. So we've then got a version of each song in the album, play them back to back, and see if anything weird stands out, because I'm thinking that some of the older tracks now I'm going to have to go back to and adjust them a little bit to make them fit in kind of the final aesthetic of what I landed on the sounds of something like We Are the Drow, with the mix bus compression and a few small drum tweaks and things that wouldn't affect a song in isolation but might make some of the first songs that I mixed now sound out of place with the newer songs. And so arguably we can make them sound better, because then they'll all sound like they belong together. So yes, quick bathroom break. See you all in 30 seconds. All right, I am back. Hello, everybody. Right, so I've got my render. So now I'm going to close this project and make a new track and just start dropping in these songs in order. I'll save it as a project as well, but so it's Reverie, then King Dom. Why does Dom get to be king? 'Cause he's the eldest. Oh, it looks like I've put that particular one. No, maybe I haven't put that one through. Come on, words. Through a limiter, through flatline. It's hard to tell because I don't absolutely slam it. Could just be a loud mix. Then we've got We Are the Drow. Yeah, I must have put Kingdom through flatline, so I might actually go back and re-render that without that. Next one is Everything, the song. Where's Everything? So that goes in there. Then we get Mother. Mother Mix 2. I'm just going to turn the volume down on Kingdom in this project a little bit. It will be affected a little bit by the fact that it's not got a limiter on the other songs, but hopefully we can listen past that for now. The Underdog is the next one. The Underdog Mix Juan, which is one that we just did tonight. Then Oracle Falls Part 2. Insert a new media that overlaps. That was a window I've not seen before. I'm going to have to investigate that in the future. What the flaming heck was that? Then the Arcane, which I think we got into Mix 1,000,003. Mix 12 we landed on. Okay. Oh, that's definitely been limited, so I will be revisiting that just a little bit. Then we carry on. Mix 3, it looks like it was the 4 was the one I landed on. And then To Live Is to Die. So there are currently some gaps in between these, but it makes for a nice 40-ish minute album. So nice vinyl, 2 sides. Solid. Do I use clippers? What, to do my hair? Love them for edgy things like this. I mean, quite often, yes, but I believe this is going off to a separate mastering engineer, so no. Also, if you don't need it, don't use it. That's my general philosophy now, that the cleaner a mix you get, the better a job you've done anyway. So let's listen from the top, having just done this one.
The old gods scorched in blood. A new queen rises from the ashes of men. This is her war. This is her story.
They want more is to be the supreme. What we want more is to free this disease.
Oop. I had to click something, didn't I?
they want more is to be the supreme. What we want more is to free this disease.
All right, now I'm going to save this as Sky. That's album one. And what I'm going to do now is this is where, when I get to the final stages of an album mixing project, I start to get picky. So I'm going to open Kingdom up now. And what's happening now is I'm hearing things because I can take my hands off the controls. So I've just made a list of about 6 changes I need to make to this. So I need to look firstly at the master bus. Oh, flatline's off. Cool. Did I make a mix 2? Oh, mix 4. I do apologize to myself. Where the flipping heck did that go? That needs replacing. Let's... Oh, why did I end up dragging... Oh, it was the lowest one because it had a spelling mistake in. Right, okay. Try that again. Might turn that whole first track down by a couple of dB so that the second one hits harder. I mean, this is all going to be limited up anyway.
What they want more is to be the supreme. What we want more is to free this disease.
Cool, and we're going to We Are the Drow. Let's see. This is one of the more recent ones, so this should sound quite good too. But yeah, I don't really tend to use clippers because I have other methods of keeping everything under control that are more organic. I absolutely wouldn't use a clipper on guitars, no way. Right, that's gonna need a bit more on the end of that.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. The sight has no sound to be shown away. I realize now why you say so. Please come take my soul.
There we go. Things are immediately standing out to me as not quite right with this song in comparison now. And it's things like the Ozonate imagery and vintage EQ, I completely deleted, and actually the Shadow Hills Class A went as well. So, and the saturation on the pentode went down on this, and the output went to magic. And that hi-hat was offensively loud compared to the other songs. And from there, the bass will have been far too rumbly in the super lows. Yeah, so what I've got to do there is super low, cut the low end out, add some bump in 100 Hz-ish to make it feel thick again. Yeah, so as Marty just said, the guitar sounds different, but that was probably because it had a lot more high end in it. Oh no, that's right. So this has got the Lindell on the guitars still, so I need to copy from Kingdom the SSL 4000 series, which I put in instead, which had a much nicer sound. Let's bring that up a bit. That's another thing, is I got rid of gatey weighty and used the slate drum gate, which is why there isn't nearly so much hi-hat on the snare channel. So I need to put that in there. It's all these little changes that make for big differences down the line. There we go. There we go, suddenly the mix is way cleaner. That sounds much better. Okay, so everything mix 4 going out with all these little changes. That snare gate change was huge. Oh wait, no. That's just trying to export out that tiny little bit. Let's export that. This is where I end up going in tiny little circles at the end of an album mix, but it's these kind of details that make it go from average to really good, where you can listen start to end of an album and feel like it's cohesive and it belongs together. I used to do this at what I called the mastering stage, but if it's going out to a mastering engineer, then that's not actually the way it works at all. In which case, you've just got to be super aware of consistency, because I've been chasing down each song individually and now we're looking at the big picture and kind of tracking out a bit. So I wouldn't mind betting that the Arcane particularly will have some big changes that need to be made. Even though it sounded great to begin with, now it has to fit with the picture while still sounding great. And that is another lesson to learn, is that there are various interpretations of great and you can still hit the mark even though it wasn't the original mark you aimed for. Yeah, concept albums teach me a lot of these kind of lessons where listening song to song, it can sound a little odd sometimes, but then when you listen in context, it's like, yes, get it. So yeah, this should now sound way different. And also, yeah, another wonderful thing about Reaper is, did you notice before that I was still playing this first Reaper project with the WAV file bounces in whilst opening other projects? That's something you can do. The project tab feature is amazing. So if I F2 on everything and go to choose new file, I should be able to go down to mix 4, and all being well, that should now drop in. So if we go from a little bit before it.
Emotions come fast as I move away.
That doesn't sound that different, but the snare where I added more attack on the snare needs less makeup gain because it's poking out of the mix in an uncomfortable way. And the guitars need more. That's the other thing I did on the bass is I put less compression on it overall.
Emotions come fast as I move away. I realize now there's no quick escape. Emotions come fast.
There we go. Just taking a dB out of that guitar at that kind of honk frequency. Let's just overwrite that mix 4. Oh, no, can't because it's opening another project. Mix 5 it is then. This is the part of a project where my brain starts skipping around like it's got weasels in it. It's just like all over the show. Because now I'm trying to tie up loose ends tonally. So it is tiny little bits that just need picking at. Like little threads that just need unthreading. and it all just needs to be just so. And I can often spend as long doing this as I did on full mixes, because this is the part where, even though the bulk of the work in the mixes looks like a lot of moves, it's the small stuff that really makes it. And the small stuff is where you've got to take that little seat back and watch. If anyone has any questions, by the way, now's a good time to throw them in, because I'm going to have plenty of little rendering times in between, in between bits. So in 30 seconds, we'll be throwing this back into the album project, as it were. And then, oh, by the way, I'm drinking an amber ale from the Honest Graft Brewing Company. Honest Graft just means honest work. And, I really appreciate that. By the way, it is Friday night here, so if it looks a little weird that I'm mixing while drinking a beer, this is my Friday night, everybody. So, yes, allow me that. Now, yeah, if I hit F2 on this to bring the properties, choose new file, mix 5. There we go. So let's listen to the end of the drow and see if it hits.
We are the drow! We are the drow!
That sounds much more like it.
September sees dreams off the page, beauty divine, locked in this cage, withholding fire, power too strong, blue light ignites. I know I don't belong. No goodbye, you're justified. The call that hate your alibi. I always knew your jealousy, your cyanide. I trusted you to be by my side. Protect, betray, I always knew the game of lies I understood from you. The soul of my
This sounds good. So let's move on to the end and then see how it flows into the Underdark.
have I gone too far? 100 years gone by since my blade ended your life, ended your life.
It's only just a girl.
deliver the sentence I have known to come after me. Come after me. I call. It's called silence. It dance till I'm dead. The blood choir. I call fire. The power from my hands. Does desire calls, burning like a man. I command. Awkward dark of my fantasies. Rise and burn, leave this life I command thee. Draw your blade, the time is near. Face the prophet field of fears. Come after me. You will come after me. You will die. You will die. I really like it when I get mad. Out of control. Violent. Look back at me with your cold, dead eyes. And you said it's only a girl.
Yeah, cool. So then that fades into this noise. Yes, hello everybody in chat. We're just listening through this album, and if anything stands out to us that isn't right, and I suspect the Arcane is the one I'm going to need to go back to, then we listen through. It's kind of listening, but yeah, I keep flicking back through to other mixes, so it's kind of a review, if you will.
Amealathalis alasa malauravas. Giliam benavan lasagalan. Mamilva halani virdalan. Talgaras abalia. I walk alone, but not for the first time. This feels foreign.
disconnected. It feels wrong. But I think this is what I am. I really think this is who I am. Goodbye, my love.
Drops of rain fell off my face. The silent sound of crashing waves aren't heard below. Aren't heard below. Smile, the shame, our times, our days. A warrior once stood here just to shield my pain. To shield my pain. Our light left us way too fast, but I want you to know this goodbye will not settle in. Never settle in. How do I cope with the falling snow as the cuts run deep? This is all I know. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. Smoldering embers of how I was born. This is too much to bear, this is too much to hold. So give in to me, give in to me, give in to me. I'm Think of me, I will think of you. Will you wait for me? I will wait for you. Will you follow me? I will follow you. Dream of me, I will dream of you. Will you watch over me? I will watch over you. Will you honor me? I will honor
you. This was to be forever.
Yeah, just had the question there. Yeah, do I enjoy making a mastering engineer's job easy? I mean, yeah, that is a massive badge of honor if the master engineer has to do nothing. Right, that sounds good, but I can hear things in there now we've done the rest of the mix. So now it's time to go back in time and open up the arcane. And this should be the smallest change out of all of these. I can hear the bus compressors just working a little bit, which I've never been a big fan of. I didn't work top down for years. So yeah, let's have a look. First thing is the isotone imager can go, the vintage EQ can go, flatline's going off, and that's going off too. That should be at 2.5 to 1. That should have less of that going on. I mean, that sounds great too, but the bass is still a little over compressed. This is all changes that we've made over the album, so this is me very quickly just kind of repeating what we've done over the album, which is like super steep 40 hertz cut on the bass and a little bit of a low bump there. I mean, that sounds nice, but what we actually used on the other songs eventually on the guitars, where is it, copy, was instead of a Neve channel strip, we used an SSL channel strip, which is a bit meatier. Right, so I'm going to save that because it may well be that was mix 12. It may well be that mix 12 was actually the mix, but I'm not deleting that. I'm just making something new to hopefully fit with everything else. But yeah, this is more about kind of compatibility with the rest of the mix. And now at least if every song matches tonally, if there's something the mastering engineer wants to change, they're not then having to take separate tracks out and process them separately, you know? Looks like the snares are really spiky on this particular song. Hopefully that's not an issue. It will be an issue. Let's just apply that and go look at that. So let's have a look at this. Right, so that snare gate has to go. We need more attack on that. The snare gate needs to be the slate one, which is this is the song where I used a super low sample underneath everything. Interesting. Maybe I should go back to the rest of the album and do that, but no, let's not at this point. Snare D-bleed natural. There we go. That's cleared the mix right out by not having the snare have all that high-end slosh on it. There we go. That's fixed a lot of the problem that I could hear in the mix that was still bugging me. It's because the gate that we had before was letting all the high-end through far too often. So now it's far cleaner. And cleaner I like. Cleaner I can live with. Most of the songs on this album I ended up going with more, if not all, of the original snare and not a sample. There are no tom samples on this album at all. The kick has samples, but then the kick had a trigger to begin with, which I felt gave me kind of a license to do that, because kicks, especially when you're going like they are on something like the Underdog, you need triggers to keep that consistent, because there are very few drummers in this world that can go that quickly and keep a consistent sound as well as consistent tempo, because physics. Yeah, the vocals are great. Alexa's a great singer. I believe that she is Billy Joel's daughter, of all people. But, you know, musical family if ever there was one. Right, let's see how this stacks up when this finishes against the other songs on the album. So, F2, choose new file. DRK Mix 13, full volume. So, yep, just flicking through. When I render out, does it update the one on the run through soundtrack? No, it doesn't. That's why I'm flicking F2 and hitting choose new file. So I can actually just go and replace a file in situ. And so, like, let's say that I'd cut some silence off the start and end. If the original file and the replacement file are exactly the same length, it keeps those trim cuts and keeps everything in place, which is really good for a mastering project, actually. So yeah, there you go. Okay, let's skip ahead. Now we hit truly epic.
You can hold my soul, bend the light in time, a power to move on, now and forever. As the sirens sing, I'm anchored by your side, moving to a melody all together. When the zenith calls, one last perfect song, guiding light that shows us now and forever. Right into the horizon, feel the pain escape. A new world that we're facing binds us together. We carry on. We carry on. We carry on. We carry on. While the tide runs wild, we shine a light forgiving. While the dark goes cold, we carry on. Carry on. We carry on. We carry on together.
Yeah, I think we did okay. And then last track on the album.
I grieve in silence. so closely, so please stay a while and hold my hand. I'll show the way. I hurt, I cry, the tears I gave are left behind, and I keep moving on and on and on, so slowly, and I keep holding on and on and on, so closely. So closely. And I keep moving on and on and on, so and I keep moving on and on and on, so
Cool. And a crisp 38 minutes there. That is definitely vinyl worthy. Although I dread to think what a vinyl pressing plant would do with some of those subs. They would definitely have to take some of that out, shall we say, so that the needle didn't just go. There we go. But yeah. I took the volume down of Reverie just so that Kingdom hits a little harder. But yeah, that is pretty much an album. So there you go, everybody. At this point now, I'm going to send all of these in order to our artists and see what feedback we get. Because some of these new songs, they will be the first time they've been sent over. I know I kept jumping around, and then at some point it will be sent to a mastering engineer, and it's entirely possible that the mastering engineer will send me some feedback saying, this is good, but can you change this and this and this and this, which is engineer speak for, this is terrible, change this, this and this and this. But, you know, that will be fine, because I'm very much expecting that, but if not, that's the end of these sessions. We have a 10-track album. We got through it methodically, slowly, bit by bit. Didn't let any of it overwhelm. The song that's near the end there, The Arcane, is the one that we went through 13 mix revisions of. But that's part of my method, usually, is whether I've been sent a certain track or whether I've been sent an entire album, I will pick a song that I find typifies that body of work. I will generally use that as the mix template until I get close to what the artist wants, so that I'm not wasting my time trying the wrong things on 10 plus different tracks. And then, yeah, at the end, we end up with that. And we end up with some really big moments on this album. There's some stuff on the Underdog that I really like. There's this big dive bomb and this big chorus. This
I call fire, the power from my hands. Does desire call?
How good is that? Yes. But by not being overwhelmed and just methodically working through it, we achieved our goal. So that is that. And in 10 parts, 10 tracks, I think we've done pretty well there. So like I say, this is, I do feel pretty accomplished now. I might even have a third beer before I go to bed, although I've got a lot of work to do tomorrow because I'm back with Brown on Sunday and I've got a lot of work to do in the meantime. So yeah, there's a bit of a conversation going on in chat about low end and vinyl. I wouldn't worry about it too much because there's this thing called the RIAA curve. And what they do is they actually take out loads of bass and add loads of treble before a vinyl gets pressed. And then the record player does the opposite and actually takes the high end down and brings the low end back. That's how they do it on vinyl, because otherwise, if it was just all bass, the needle would jump. So how hard is it to print Aphex Twin on vinyl? Pretty hard. But yeah, there are loads of methods that those guys have to make that fit. That's what mastering engineers actually do. That's what a mastering engineer's job really is. A mastering engineer's job is not to make something sound loud. A mastering engineer's job is to take your work and the output format, which could be streaming, could be CD, could be vinyl, could be cassette tape, could be anything, and make your work fit as well as it can do on that output format. Now, if your work needs something changing to make that work, then the mastering engineer will do that change. But mastering engineers have much higher quality listening environments than the average mix engineer would have. And I'm talking $100,000 to $250,000 at least. Those guys go all out so that they can hear the smallest thing. And if they hear things that they know are going to be problems when other people listen, they can try and fix it. And if they can't fix it, they'll come back to me and they'll say, hey, you've got an issue here. Can you fix this for me? Which is usually the easiest solution, because then I can pull up the project. Let's say, for example, they say, hey, this is a good mix, but your kick drum has loads of rumble at 32 hertz. Let's say I couldn't hear 32 hertz on these, even though technically I can hear it. Let's say I wasn't picking it out. And they say, because they've got this system that can do that, they say, that's a problem for me. The easiest way is if you can go through your mixes and just change that and nothing else. I can do that. Or if they say, well, some of your vocals have a little bit too much S, or there's a cymbal on this track that's really loud, they will hear that and their system will be that good that they're not doubting their system at all. They just know that is wrong. So, yeah. Flocky in chat saying mastering nowadays, all they do is try and get the LUFS right for output and boost and jam everything against a limiter. No. A good mastering engineer doesn't do that. Generally speaking, a mastering engineer will only do that when the client asks them to. And unfortunately, a lot of clients are kind of owned or signed by labels, and the labels want their mastering engineer to make it super loud. So don't go blaming the engineers. We get told this is what we want. And generally, we as engineers we do what we're asked to have done. You know, that's part of the job, is you talk to your client and you say, what do you want? And if I get any say in the matter, I very much, I'll put these down, very much like, it's not even the engineers, it's definitely the clients. Most clients want loud, or at least they did. Now it's less common. Let's see, I'm just going to bring in K-Clip on this and just hit play on this bit, and this will give me an integrated and momentary loudness units calibrated at -14. And this is a loud bit of the album.
I call fire, the power from my hands. Death desire.
There you go. That's integrated, so averaged around -11 LUFS. That's already louder than the -14 Spotify target. And as you can see behind there, there's no limiting, there's no brick wall, there's nothing like that. So if streaming is the target, I would say that doesn't need any limiting at all. But you might want some of that. You might want to hit a limiter with it if it's a good sounding limiter that adds some niceness. It's unfair when Drake can put his music out louder. No, it's not unfair at all. You can do that. You can turn off the ceiling. You can turn off true peak. You can use clippers that do that if you want to do that. But Drake's modern music for me doesn't actually sound that good. And that's not a slight on Drake as an artist. That's me talking technically about the output, because his stuff doesn't sound that great. But it can feel good. It depends what you're trying to feel. And generally, Drake's mixes are perfect before they go to mastering. And so the better the mix, the easier the master. I've seen terrible mixes where the master reads -6 on the meters for RMS or LUFS, and it sounds like it's at -12. Okay, but yeah, that is that. So thank you very much for joining me on this little journey. And I will return with more mixing, and hopefully more mixing for SkyeAsylum, because we've been talking about doing a song at some point in the summer for a standalone, but that depends on that being a finished recording, which hasn't happened yet. But here's hoping there's more albums will get going. But yeah, there may or may not be another episode in this series. Have a quick look for it if you're watching this on catch up. There may be a part 11. If there is, it'll be mixed revisions and small changes and maybe a listen party at the end. But otherwise, that's it. And thank you very much for watching. So I'll see you all in the next live series and on the next video and the shorts and the Celestian video and the weekly podcast and everything. Thanks for the support from the patrons. Thanks for SkyeAsylum for commissioning this little series. So yes, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye. Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram,